Recently, pop idol and my fellow former Disney star, Sabrina Carpenter, has gotten into some trouble with some Catholics after filming a rather distasteful music video in a traditional looking Catholic church, in which she put some terrible things on the altar and around the sanctuary, including what looks like a candle to the goddess Venus. And along with that, she's running around the sanctuary, running around the altar, while in very skimpy outfits, doing things that are definitely not to be done in a Catholic church, especially not the Catholic sanctuary. And because of all of this, she has drawn a lot of flack from Catholics, especially since this is a part of a larger music video that is very feminist, very violent, very anti-man, and in general very antithetical to what the Catholic Church promotes. Now, I think I have to address this. This is sort of like my two worlds colliding. I used to have the same manager as Sabrina Carpenter. I even went to some of the same parties that she went to, got to speak with her on a couple of occasions. And I'm also a traditional Roman Catholic. I think a lot of the main talking points have been spoken about already. It is disgraceful that the priest of this parish let this happen. It's a sad reflection on our culture that such a thing can happen. But a few things haven't been mentioned. Like, why was this done specifically at a Catholic church? I don't think that's been examined. Why wasn't this done at a mosque? Well, I think we all know the answer to that. If she was even in parts of a mosque simply for being a woman, but especially dressed in the way she was, she would be killed. Didn't matter if she is a pop idol. They take their faith quite seriously, and so she wouldn't have done this in a mosque. Why didn't she do this in a synagogue? Well, if she did anything like this in a synagogue, I think she would have drawn flack for being a insulter to Jewish culture. People might have even called her a Holocaust denier, saying she was making fun of the Holocaust. So she couldn't have done this in a synagogue. But why didn't she do this at a Protestant church? Well, one of the reasons for that is that many Protestant churches are already profane. You couldn't tell the difference between them and a sort of rock concert. People wouldn't have known. No, Sabrina Carpenter chose this location for a reason. Everyone recognizes the Catholic Church, especially in its traditional architecture and its traditional setup, as sacred. This was a specific mark on her part to want to hit that aesthetic, to try to insult the sacred, that everyone in our culture recognizes as sacred. That would be the altar of God and the Catholic Church. I think that hasn't been considered. Maybe people should ask themselves, why was this so insulting? Even Protestants are saying, well, goodness, this is insulting to religion in general. Why is that? Because this is universally recognized as a sacred space. But I also wanted to give a word against traditional Catholics who are up in arms against this, calling down fire and brimstone, saying everyone involved is going to hell. And to be fair, this is an obscene act. It does need resistance. But I think we all should consider that this is what we are like. Even so, maybe even more terrible, more contradictory when we sin. For at least Sabrina Carpenter is consistent. She doesn't take this whole religion thing seriously. She's a part of a culture that hates the sacred, that hates the idea of what the Catholic Church promotes. And so she doesn't treat it as sacred. It's seen as an aesthetic, and that's it. But us traditional Catholics, we do claim we take it seriously. But oftentimes when we sin, we do nothing more than treat it like an aesthetic. Sabrina Carpenter is at least more consistent in the way she treats the Catholic faith. I think us trads don't in the way we act. That's something to be considered.